Hello, beautiful friends. It's Erika. So, I want to talk today about something that I see tripping some of my clients up in their lives. And I thought it would be a great thing to discuss here in a video for all of you. And it has to do with discernment and authenticity. So, one of the things that I have been talking about with my clients a lot and has been coming up a lot in my sessions with them is this funny little transition period that happens on a soul growth journey, on an ascension journey, where you begin to embody more of who you really are, and you awaken to your soul growth path in a new way. You are more ascended. You're seeing the world through a new lens, if you will. And part of what happens in this process is there is a real desire to a real calling to show up authentically, because a lot of things that a lot of what's coming up in the collective is people are being called to live authentically who they are, right? And as opposed to playing a role or living a role or dimming their light to fit into society more because maybe they feel like they're outcast or they would be considered strange or weird or crazy or whatever, right? And so a lot of souls are being called to live who they truly are, no matter what society expects of them, what their family expects of them, what their job description expects of them, whatever it is, right? Their career path expects of them. And so authenticity is a huge, over the last couple of years, has really been at the forefront of the messages coming through for the collective. So am I living my authentic life? Am I living true to myself? Am I happy? Or am I pretending to be happy? Or am I forcing myself to tell myself that I'm really fulfilled in my life because other people say I should be happy? I've got everything that other people would say would make me happy, but I'm not really happy. So a lot of people are aligning with this authenticity. However, part of what is the next step of that is being discerning with how you share that authenticity. Okay. um what I'm seeing some of my clients trip up with a little bit is when it's like, it feels so good to be who you really are, right? It does. It's like, this is me, love it or leave it kind of thing. I like me, I'm happy with who I am, and I'm embodying who I'm supposed to be. But then the responses that they're getting from some people are starting to dim their light again. It's like, that's a very crucial point in someone's ascension journey, when it's like they're finally embodying who they're supposed to be, and it's almost like that little sprout that's sprouted out of the earth, but it's really vulnerable at that point to being trampled on, right? So you have to be very careful with yourself in a lot of ways when you are first embodying that energy, or I not even necessarily first, but when you're really starting to live from that new life. And what I'm hearing from my clients is things like, they'll be sharing with friends of theirs, right? Friends they've had for a long time, about maybe what's going on in their life or what's happening. And they're sharing things, and their friends are either not understanding it, not getting it, trying to come in and give you advice from their perspective. And my clients are kind of it's like coming out of those conversations feeling a little lower, right? It's like, oh, I'm trying to be authentic and I just don't feel like I'm fitting in, or they don't get me anymore, or they're telling me stuff that doesn't make sense because they don't understand what I've been through. And it can be a very lonely time for people. And that's again a theme that's been coming up in a lot of these sessions, is gosh, I'm hanging around these people that I've been with forever. And we used to, yuck around a lot and have fun and laugh. And it was fun. And I enjoyed hanging out with them. But now I just feel so sort of separate. So it's important that you are discerning with who you really share your authentic heart with. Okay. Because it's important to understand that if people are not where you are in your life, in your level of consciousness, in their soul journey, then no amount of being authentic will change that for them. It will simply, but what it can do is it can cause a little static in your field, in your energy field, in yourself, if you have the expectation that they will accept you or it will feel the way it did before in your friendship, if that makes sense. So if you go in understanding this, it's different. But if you go in there thinking like, oh, these have been my friends forever and they've loved me forever, why wouldn't they accept the new me? They may not. Or they might kind of be like, I don't get it. Or they may try to give you advice from their level of consciousness. And so this may seem a little subtle, but it's the subtleties of the universe are always where it packs the most power, in my opinion, and what I've seen in my life and in my clients' work, in my client work. And so being authentic doesn't mean like throwing everything out there for everybody, like to let the wolves just have at you, right? It's not about that. It is about living authentically, which also includes knowing who to share that with. Who is it safe to share that true heartfelt authenticity with, right? So there's a difference. Like you can live authentically, but it doesn't mean you just show up at a party and you're like fully exactly who you are and not and be a little too open, because what I'm seeing happen with my clients is like there's like a sadness. It brings up the inner child stuff and the rejection and the not fitting in thing. And as we all know, every experience is meant to come up so that we can heal it. So that's not a bad thing necessarily. But when we are at a point in the collective ascension process where we all need to be embodying as much light as humanly possible, we have to be extremely intentional and even vigilant about all those little places where we could become more vulnerable to being dimmed. I guess that's the simplest way I will put it. Is any circumstance, any situation, any environment that dims your light from the standpoint of making you feel like, oh, I can't really be myself. And then there's like where you can't really be yourself. Just pay attention to that. Granted, there's times we have to go into environments where we don't quite fit in, and that's fine, right? That's life. However, once we go into those environments aware of the energy dynamics, we're a lot safer to go in. The problem is I see people going in there thinking, not being aware of that, and that's when they can get a little bit hurt, they can get a little bit dimmed, they can get a little disheartened, and they can get really it can be painful, because a lot of what happens when you start to embody more of who you really are and you are really shining your light brightly is there's a lot of jealousy that comes up in people. Jealousy that you are living who you are, your light is shining brightly, and theirs is not. Okay. And that is, let's cut to the chase. That's really a lot of what happens is people secretly, like some of the closest people to you might be the most jealous of you and pretend to be your friend, and they can sometimes be the most damaging. So again, going into these environments aware of this will certainly go very far in helping to shield you in a way from from the unhealthy environment. It's almost like they're showing me the image of going into, like, whether you're going into outer space or going into the ocean, right, underwater, you're going to go in with your scuba suit. You're going to go in with your space suit. It's a new atmosphere. It's a new environment. And you're a different, like, you're from a different place. So put on your suit. You wouldn't just dive to the bottom of the ocean without your scuba suit. You wouldn't go out into outer space without your spacesuit and your oxygen and all that stuff. So it's the same thing going into environments where maybe it's not, quite your vibe, quite your people, or quite your soul family, if you will. Even though they may have been soul family before, but if you've continued to grow and ascend and begin to embody more of yourself, just be aware of that, because that can be some of the most painful things, is where it's like you get people are just like, God, it just sucked when so and so just, like, I could hear them talking about me, and I was like, what are you doing? You've been my friend for 20 years, but it's happening. So I know many of you guys have experienced it, especially over the last 3 years in particular. But anyway, I hope that this is a good reminder for those of you, and also, understanding of why you may have been going through what you've been going through. And remember, it's not about not about you, it is about them. Yet your piece in this is to be discerning with who you are really open with and who you allow into your sacred space of your heart. Because you can get along with those people just fine, but don't share your deep, dark secrets with them, because they are not of your vibration. And that is where you can make yourself vulnerable to some, I'm trying to think of the words I'm hearing, to the dark, the attacks, again, anything that's intended to dim your light. So hopefully this has been helpful. If you like this type of video, I do more of these in my free Inner Circle membership, which is, you just sign up down below, and I do post there more frequently than I do here. These are the more types of conversations that we are having over there in my private community. And that link is down below. If you liked this video, do give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And let me know how you have experienced this. I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments below. So until next time, guys, I send you so much love, and keep shining your light brightly. Until next time, bye.